You talked about, in my previous interview and tonight, how you've been practicing for a very long time, since 1957. A lot of medical people, including my own wife, who is listed as an organ donor. In fact, we had a discussion much like the discussion we had tonight on a drive home yesterday, have been taught that this is a moral, that this is a positive good. How is it that the current medical profession sees things this way, and at what point did the average person learning, if a person's learning decides, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, how do you prevent them from being taught, you know, it's okay to kill this person, it's okay? When does this standard change collectively?
Well, first of all, when did the standard change collectively? It changed in around 1967, 1968. And what made it change? What made it change was heart transplant made it change. And so heart transplant, and then they made it legal. And remember, it was legal to kill the 20-year-old before it was legal to kill the unborn baby. And so this preceded, so it changed in the late 60s. And then once they legalized abortion, then no longer do doctors take an oath when they graduate. We took an oath that said we won't kill and we won't harm and we won't do abortions and things like that. So they don't take that anymore. What's the root of all of that? The root of all of that has to do with God and the Creator and belief and that kind of thing. So is there anybody in this room that would be supportive of stopping a beating heart on someone that they loved? No. Yet the transplant surgeon stops the beating heart all the time. Yes. So what is it? If you're with God, you won't do it. I don't want to sound like I'm judging them, but it's either with God or it's pagan. And much of medicine is very exciting. I mean, I'm part of it. It's exciting, the imaging that we can do with ultrasound and CAT scan and MRIs and PET scans. It's exciting, but much of it is a very impersonal, almost a pagan practice of medicine that goes on. And yes, you need to get educated, and so that's what we're doing here. And thank God, I commend all of you for coming out and listening, and I ask you to pray and to take the books and look up on the website and look at things and go. And I need your help. I need your help to tell your relatives and your friends. I need your help. You've got to speak up. The kids need to know. The kids are good. You know, kids, a 16-year-old says, well, sure, take my organs. But what they mean is take my organs after I'm dead. They don't mean kill me. They don't mean that at all. And there's a lot of people who say things like, somebody said something to me today about a ventilator, but I wouldn't want to be on a ventilator for 20 years. Anybody ever hear of Christopher Reeves? Used to be acted as Superman, and then he had an accident on his horse. And then every time we saw him on the TV after that, for the whole rest of his life, he was on a ventilator. Every time. He was in the wheelchair. You couldn't see the ventilator, but he's on a ventilator all the time for years. Well, what's wrong with Christopher Reeves living versus someone else living? I mean, none of us would prefer a ventilator if we can breathe like we can now. None of us would prefer a feeding tube if we can eat. In fact, it's nice to eat. The food tastes good. We like it. Who would like to have it given to us by a tube? But sometimes that's the only way you live. My friend Bill takes care of his wife Laura. My wife Shirley and I, we're friends with Bill and Laura, and we eat breakfast with them after Mass on Sunday sometime. And the first thing we noticed was that Bill was ordering Laura's food. And then it wasn't too long that Bill was feeding Laura. And then it wasn't too long as we came out of the restaurant and we saw Bill, he had the door open to the car, and then he's walking Laura around. Laura had forgotten how to get in the car. But her dementia, we saw it progress to where Laura's been bedridden for 9 years. She has a feeding tube, she has a catheter. Every time I go there, her hair's always combed, she always has a clean gown on. Bill talks with her and talks to her just like he would talk to his lover. You know, Laura, honey, Paul's here, and I'll say, hi, Laura, it's Paul, and most I get out of her, something like that. That's all there is. And someone will say, it must be difficult, Bill. And Bill says, no, it's not difficult now. He said it was difficult when we were driving down the road and she was trying to open the door to get out. He said I had to get a car that the doors wouldn't open up so she wouldn't get out. And Bill says, well, what's the alternative? I mean, you know, the people from coming along wanting to have advanced directives and go to hospice and those things. And he said, no. And it doesn't cost much to take care of her. She gets insured, and she gets, for a while it was 6 cans a day, but it's down like 4 cans a day. It's all she needs, and she does just fine. And Bill's a gifted, talented guy. He can do anything with wood and metal. He has an airplane that I helped him carry that he's building. I helped him carry the wing out this summer, and then so he could work on it some more and that kind of thing. He does that in between. He takes care of Laura. So there's a lot of people that are not getting that kind of care and that kind of thing. But what's the alternative? To kill her? That's not an alternative. Yes.